Um, the profitable truth: why Black women's entrepreneurship is more than a numbers game. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this special TED Talk. I'm absolutely thrilled to share with you some transformative insights I gained from my recent interview with Ann Hall, a revolutionary force in the landscape of Black women's entrepreneurship. Anne isn't just an expert, she's a visionary who has dedicated her life to dismantling the invisible barriers that have historically confined Black women's economic potential. Her groundbreaking research and advocacy have fundamentally altered how we understand the intersection of race, gender, and business ownership in America. What makes Anne truly exceptional is her refusal to accept surface level progress. She digs deeper, asks harder questions, and demands genuine economic transformation rather than symbolic victories. Today, I want to take you beneath the headlines and beyond the celebratory statistics to explore a more nuanced reality, one that Anne Hall has courageously illuminated through her work. We've all seen the impressive headlines splashed across business magazines and social media. Women of color starting businesses at record rates. Black women, America's fastest growing entrepreneurial demographic. These statistics paint a picture of remarkable progress, opportunity, and success. And on the surface, they're absolutely true. Women of color now account for an astonishing 89% of new female owned businesses created daily. Black women make up 28% of Black entrepreneurs in America. But as Ann Hall powerfully articulated in our interview, there's a stark reality behind these impressive statistics that rarely makes the headlines. Only 15% of Black women entrepreneurs report making a profit. Let that sink in for a moment. 15%. This single statistic shatters the entire narrative we've built around entrepreneurial success among women of color. It forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Starting a business and sustaining a profitable business are two entirely different achievements, and the systems that enable the former aren't necessarily supporting the latter. This is what Ann calls the growth profit disconnect. And it's at the heart of what I want to explore with you today. While businesses owned by women of color have grown at an impressive rate of 163% in recent years, there's a troubling disconnect between this growth and actual profitability. Black women entrepreneurs, in particular, face unique challenges in converting business ownership into sustainable profit. Starting a business, as Anne reminded me, is just the beginning. Building system for profitability requires different skills, different resources, and different support structures. But before we dive deeper, I want to share something that truly shocked me during my conversation with Ann. Of the $1.9 trillion generated by female owned companies in America, businesses owned by women of color account for only $422.5 million. That's not just a gap, it's a chasm, a disproportionately tiny slice of the economic pie, especially considering their growing numbers and significant contribution to the entrepreneurial landscape. This capital gap directly impacts scaling opportunities and long term sustainability for Black women entrepreneurs. It's not just about starting businesses, it's about creating the conditions for these businesses to thrive, scale, and generate wealth for their founders and communities. Let me introduce you to Amira Rasul, founder and CEO of The Folklore, a commerce solution helping small brands, particularly Black owned businesses and African based fashion retailers, create digital storefronts and sell products online. Amira's journey perfectly illustrates both the challenges and the possibilities that Ann Hall discussed in our interview. Like many Black women entrepreneurs, Amira faced significant capital acquisition challenges, starting with minimal investment in an industry that traditionally requires substantial startup capital. But rather than pursuing traditional venture capital immediately, she started with a modest $30,000 investment and built a proof of concept that demonstrated clear market value before seeking larger funding rounds. The result? She has successfully raised over $6 million dollars in funding since founding her company in 2018, making her among the youngest Black women to raise over $1 million dollars in pre seed funding. The folklore now supports over 700 brands and includes a retail shop where customers can buy products from African designers and manufacturers. What makes Amira's story particularly powerful is her stated mission to invest in building Africa's economy. Her entrepreneurial vision extends beyond personal success to economic development by increasing exports and production across the continent. This is what Ann Hall refers to as the multiplier effect strategy. The understanding that female entrepreneurs typically employ more female workers, creating a powerful ripple effect that increases female labor force participation beyond just the business owner. Black women entrepreneurs who strategically leverage this multiplier effect can create economic ecosystems that lift entire communities while strengthening their own business foundations. This is entrepreneurship as a form of community empowerment, not just individual achievement. Consider also the story of Fungi Ndemera, founder of Checkup Health, a software supporting healthcare providers with consultations and prescription writing. As a Black woman in the male dominated fields of both healthcare and technology, Fungi faced intersectional barriers to entry, credibility challenges, and likely difficulties accessing technical talent and investment. Her response? She leveraged her expertise in healthcare to develop technology addressing specific pain points for providers. She also built a strong personal brand through content creation and business mentorship. Her work has earned recognition from major organizations, including being named one of the top 100 African entrepreneurs and business leaders in the UK by the African Business Chamber. Fungi's journey illustrates another key insight from my conversation with Ann Hall: the power of domain expertise combined with technological innovation. Black women entrepreneurs are not just starting businesses, they are solving problems in industries where their perspectives have been historically underrepresented. This creates opportunities for innovation that might otherwise be missed. But these individual success stories, inspiring as they are, exist within a broader context that Ann Hall helped me understand more deeply. Despite making up 39% of the female population in the United States, women of color entrepreneurs face disproportionate barriers to accessing capital, with their businesses accounting for only a fraction of the revenue generated by all women owned businesses. There are now approximately 6.4 million businesses managed by women of color in the United States, demonstrating significant entrepreneurial activity despite structural barriers. The 163% growth rate of businesses owned by women of color significantly outpaces overall business growth rates, indicating exceptional resilience and determination. But as Ann Hall emphasized repeatedly in our conversation, We need to move beyond celebrating the number of businesses started to focus on creating systems that ensure their profitability and longevity. This brings me to what I believe is the most important insight from my interview with Anne: the need to shift our metrics of success from quantity to quality, from starts to sustainability. For too long, we've measured progress by counting the number of businesses started by Black women and women of color. We've celebrated increases in entrepreneurship rates without examining whether these businesses are generating profit, creating jobs, or building wealth for their founders. We've focused on the inputs without adequately tracking the outputs. As Anne so eloquently put it, true economic empowerment requires more than starting businesses. It demands that we build sustainable, profitable enterprises that create generational wealth. So, what does this mean for how we support Black women entrepreneurs? How do we move from a model focused primarily on encouraging business starts to one that prioritizes business sustainability? First, we need to recognize that access to capital remains a critical barrier, but it's not just about the initial startup capital. It's about growth capital, working capital, and capital for scaling. Black women entrepreneurs need financial partners who understand their unique challenges and opportunities, who are willing to invest not just in the launch, but in the journey. Second, we need to build stronger ecosystems of support that focus specifically on profitability strategies. Mentorship programs, accelerators, and incubators that emphasize financial management, pricing strategies, and operational efficiency can help bridge the gap between starting a business and running a profitable one. Third, we need to address the systemic barriers that continue to limit opportunities for Black women entrepreneurs. This includes tackling discrimination in lending practices, expanding networks of influence and opportunity, and creating more inclusive procurement policies in both the public and private sectors. And finally, we need to celebrate different kinds of success stories. Yes, the unicorn startups and venture backed enterprises are important, but so are the small, profitable businesses that create jobs in their communities, the lifestyle businesses that provide sustainable income for their founders, and the social enterprises that prioritize impact alongside profit. As Anne reminded me, there is no single model of entrepreneurial success. What matters is building businesses that work for the women who found them and the communities they serve. Today, I stand before you with a challenge that comes directly from the heart of Anne Hall's transformative work. We must fundamentally reimagine what success looks like for Black women entrepreneurs. The time for polite conversations and incremental change has passed. We need bold, decisive action that addresses the profitability gap facing Black women owned businesses. This isn't just about fairness, though that would be reason enough. This is about unlocking the full potential of our economy. When we allow 85% of Black women owned businesses to operate without profit, we're not just failing these entrepreneurs, we're failing ourselves. We're leaving innovation on the table. We're missing opportunities for job creation. We're perpetuating systems of economic inequality that harm us all. So I ask you, what will you do tomorrow that's different from what you did today? Will you intentionally seek out and support Black women owned businesses, not just with your social media likes, but with your actual dollars? Will you mentor a Black woman entrepreneur with the specific goal of helping her increase profitability, not just visibility? Will you advocate for procurement policies in your organization that prioritize supplier diversity with real measurable targets. The revolution in Black women's entrepreneurship isn't just about starting businesses, it's about building an economy where these businesses thrive, scale, and generate wealth. It's about moving beyond the performance of progress to the reality of results. As Ann Hall has shown us, when Black women win in business, we all win. Their success isn't just their own, it ripples outward, creating jobs, inspiring innovation, and building stronger communities. The time for celebration without transformation is over. The time for action is now. Thank you